He's basically essentially using taxpayers' fund to build a business to be an influencer later on. And that's exactly what he's done. So he's taken a taxpayer-funded account, having people follow him around, create videos, edit videos, travel to places in order to build this 18,000 followers, right? So what does that mean? It means he's monetized on X. It means he gets paid on X, right? That's what it means. That account is the NYPD Daughtry account. He just changes it to Kaz Daughtry. And now, so he's trying to say that he has two personal accounts. So he blocked me. He blocks Eric. He blocks Marlon. He blocked Sal without us ever even saying anything to him. We didn't respond to him. We didn't repost him. We didn't say anything to him at all. So when I go to look at his account and I'm blocked, I'm like, wait a minute, hold on. This was the NYPD Daughtry account. This was a taxpayer-funded account. So he used public funds to build a business for himself, essentially, because now he has a monetized account on X. He posts all day long about stuff that's happening in New York City and has his work as a deputy mayor on this account. So anyone in the country, anyone in America should have the right to speak to him, because essentially what the internet is now is a town hall. A public official, you could go to any town hall and they cannot stop you from sleeping. Public official cannot stop you from speaking. X is a town hall. Kaz Daughtry has illegally blocked us.
Well, you kind of have to look at social media as if if Kaz Daughtry's social media account was him standing at a podium and you're in that room with him, whether it's an X account or actually having a conversation on his account, you have to view it as if you're actually, imagine there was actually four walls around you guys and you were actually at a physical forum. That's pretty much what it's supposed to be. And that's the kind of unparalleled. And there you do have a right to attend. You have a right to make comments. You have a right to agree. You have a right to disagree. Now, if you threaten, harass, and if it was actually at a physical forum, you would be removed. You know, obviously, if it was something threatening. So when it comes to social media, that's where it's kind of different, right? Would you actually remove them? Not necessarily remove them, but you can report, right? You can report those accounts, but I don't think you can block those accounts. So I agree. From everything that I read so far, there's no knowledge to me or any literature that indicates that they can actually delete or actually remove anyone from their account by any means at all. So, what's that?
Yeah, no, they can't.
I don't think so. Yeah,
you said, but you think that they should be able to. I don't think that they could.
I think if it's something, if they're being threatened, I think they should be able to. That's the only point. As far as banter, even if they're, like I said, if they're saying stuff, if it's like I said, the critique or memes, things like that, you should never block those. Absolutely, you're supposed to have a thick skin. And you're supposed to allow critique. That's, it's almost like getting a review if you're in a restaurant. If it's something threatening, like, hey, I'm going to kill you or something like that, God forbid, that obviously, I think you should be allowed to block someone like that. But I don't think you can. And I've read a lot on it. I can't find anything on it.
Yeah, I just don't think you can. I don't think that you can. Well, you can't. And then I don't think that you should either, because I still believe it's an attack on First Amendment. The same way that somebody might be a wacko tomorrow, maybe today, maybe they really do suffer from mental illness, and maybe they have they have a day of clarity and they have an actual point that they want to speak some. It's a violation of First Amendment. So I all around don't support it. So by 3 p.m., we'll be filing a complaint with DOI. After that complaint, however that complaint pulls out, we will be seeking legal action to further this. Now, we're not looking for money out of any of it. We just want what's right is right, and we want our public officials and our their appointed management to understand that you can't do this. You have to abide by the Constitution. You have to abide by the rules. So if I have to waste hours of my life in order to get you to do that, I will. Right? Richie Torres was smart enough to just do what he knew was right and hit the unblock button. That's it. That's all it is. And you know how many times I've commented to Richie Torres since? 0. The other thing is like, I think you see the childishness in Kaz Daughtry through this, because I want to just reflect back on the first episode we did, Nepotism in the NYPD, where we gave our analysis on the appointment of Kaz Daughtry to assistant commissioner. We did that because our audience had requested us to speak about it, and we gave our honest opinions on what it was. And we both sat there and said, Kaz, we don't blame you for taking it. We would take it too. Nobody's blaming you for taking it, right? And that's when all the attacks started, right? And how do you think? I mean, I think about it often, and I'm like, if that was me and it really bothered me, I mean, I probably would have just ignored it, but if it really bothered me, I would have just came on the podcast. And how do you think things would have went then? Right? And then maybe we made fun of him about his drone thing. Come on the podcast again. Like, I don't understand like how this guy is put in a position to be a deputy mayor when he can't handle the slightest well-deserved criticism. Can't take a joke. Nothing.
Opposition meets opportunity, and I always say communication breaks barriers. If Kaz Daughtry took the opportunity to come on this podcast, or anyone else that's in opposition to this podcast, it actually would disarm them and disarm us, and we'd actually have a better relationship. Now, I'm not saying we have a bad relationship with Kaz. I'm not saying we have a bad relationship with John Shell. They may have a bad relationship with us because they have personalized this relationship. But the relationship that we have with public officials and anyone in the upper echelon of the NYPD is giving a professional critique. And John, I think you said it best. It's actually via the rank and file, because the rank and file cannot speak out. You know, we've had numerous encounters with people on social media where we're getting cops and detectives that recently retired, excuse me, and are now speaking out about the atrocities of the NYPD. And some of the critics say, well, you didn't say anything while you're working. Why are you saying it now? Well, because they couldn't. That's the whole point of this podcast. We are a voice for the rank and file that is currently employed by the NYPD or any other law enforcement agency or any agency that is facing internal pressures of that agency and not getting the respect that they deserve. Because while you're working, you can't speak out. If you speak out, you'll be fired. That's why it's important to have a strong union. That's why it's important to have a great relationship with retirees that have that ability to speak for you, such as this platform, such as this network. The Finance Unfiltered is a voice for the people within the department that don't have a voice at this time because they're currently employed. We have the First Amendment speech. We have the ability that they do not. So that critique I just find completely polarizing. But again, there are others out there also that are public officials that block accounts unnecessarily and they're not being held accountable for it. Not just Kaz Daughtry. Now, Kaz Daughtry, I think this is the worst case scenario. I think this is absolutely ridiculous. He took a preemptive strike immediately against myself, John, Sal, Marlon, anyone affiliated with this podcast to actually block us before there was any interaction. It just shows there's already a personalized emotion there. And that is a major problem, showing that you can't handle your position as a public official or authority and think that we don't have First Amendment right because we're no longer residents of New York City. So obviously he doesn't understand his position. But there are others. For instance, Joe Fox. Joe Fox, I've never said anything unprofessional to him. I've been nothing but professional, but I have critiqued his position as a leader and as someone that has a position of authority in CCRB. I've critiqued him numerous times, and he blocked me from all accounts on social media. The nice guy that everyone loves, Joe Fox from the NYPD. Anyone here active or retired, you're probably familiar with Joe Fox. If you're an outside agency or someone who's a police enthusiast or just a civilian, Joe Fox was a chief with the NYPD. He was beloved. He's still beloved by many. In my opinion, is he a good guy? No. He's just a nice guy. He takes pictures with cops, but at CCRB, his rates are more damning than others, and he substantiates more complaints than anyone else. And for that, I gave him numerous critique, and he blocked me from his social media accounts. And in my opinion, Joe Fox is a public official. There's pictures of him constantly with cops. He's employed by CCRB.
Personal account. That's his personal account. He doesn't speak about his act as a CCRB official. That is his personal account. He could block you. He's no longer. By what I read by law, not necessarily, because it meets that two-pronged system. He does talk about on them, and sometimes he's had referred to his position at CCRB. He talks about the police department, and if
he himself
talks about his position at CCRB, then he can't block you. Then he's a public official.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go back and find that, but there is definitely stuff there. No, what you're saying. If he doesn't talk about CCRB, and if there's no imaging or nothing reflecting in his position as a public official, then he might have some discretion. But even then, it's kind of tough. It's kind of tough because he is, in many aspects, he is a public official. He has authority on local government, and he's still affiliated with the police department. He takes pictures with cops. He talks about his love for the cops. So I think that I think his account could be interpreted as a public official account.
I mean, I take it back. Maybe I think you might be right. He's employed by the city. And he's talking about official matters of the city.
Yeah, to me, that would be a public official.
That's public official. Yeah, I think you're right.
I don't think there's. I mean, the law, from what I read, is kind of vague. It just says that they have a position of authority and in city, local, and state government, and they talk about stuff that has to do with that, and that's what he does. I mean, it doesn't have to be him talking about just CCRB? No, he talks about police. He talks about agencies. I think if it was just, I know he has some type of leadership business. If it was just his business and had no affiliation with CCRB, doesn't have any pictures of NYPD, there may be an argument. But again, it's open to interpretation.
No, yeah, I agree. That's an FU one. He's probably not allowed to block anyone too. Just him taking pictures with cops is like, I think that opens it up enough. I do. That's the majority of his social media platform is pictures with cops. Cops love to take pictures with him. Now, but if he wasn't working for the CCRB, then he could block you 100%.
Agreed. 100%. Agreed. 100%.
Yeah.
I think, John, I think overall, the point is, what I've read and what I understand, it's pretty tough if you're a public official to have a personal account that's not affiliated with your position at all.
I mean, I would think so, because anything, especially when you're in public safety, I mean, you could talk about anything and it relates to public safety, unless you're just taking pictures of the sunset every day, or your kids, or like you going on vacation. I mean, like what Daughtry's doing, that is an official account. I mean, the whole thing, it hasn't even changed from the NYPD account. You can't be using taxpayer funds to create photos of yourselves at funerals and videos of yourself at press conferences and then sit there and say, no, it's my personal account because you put a little tag on it. And then preemptively block people too. Like a huge violation of the First Amendment. Daniel, I'm going to mangle your last name, but Krasinska, I think it is. He said that you could file a complaint with the ACLU or the New York Civil Liberties Union, and they will file cease and desist on your behalf. I don't think they're going to do so for me, but I'll give it a shot. I don't think that's going to happen, but I'll give it a shot anyway.
That's hilarious.
But 100%, I am gonna file a complaint with DOI if it's not rectified by 3 p.m. because it's wrong, man. It's wrong. I think Pat's talking about the unions. I think with the unions, it's a little different, man. Like I think if you blocked a union paying member, then I think you have a problem. You know what I mean? Like, why'd you block me off of social media? But like the SBA blocked me. And they preemptively blocked me too. I mean, what's my recourse there? Like, why do I even care? Why do I need to be able to see their posts? I don't. You know what I mean? I do think, however, if you push the issue, technically it's representing public officials. The account, they're speaking about official public business. I think if you push the issue, they'd have to unblock you too. I just could give two shits, but like I think if we push the issue with that one too, because again, social media is really there's a lot of ills of social media, but the one thing you got to say is it's connected everybody, right? You have the ability to speak with anybody and everybody at any time. You have the ability to contact anybody at any time, and it really is a huge virtual town hall at the end of the day. I mean, that's how I use it. I use it as a town hall of discussions on politics. That's how I use it. You don't see pictures of my kids. You don't see pictures of my wife. You don't see what I do every day. If you look at my social media, like, wow, all this guy does is talk about politics.
You've just watched a clip from our live episode. Click the description to watch the full episode. Like, share, and subscribe for more videos just like this.